What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Reinier de Ridder says preparing for Khamzat is easier than Dricus du Plessis. After his big win over Robert Whittaker this past weekend, Reinier de Ridder has landed at number 5 on the UFC's middleweight rankings, putting him on the fringes of title talks. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. When looking at the upcoming title fight between Dricus du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, the former one champ believes that preparing for Chimaev would be a much more straightforward task. During an interview with ESPN's Brett Okamoto, he explained, Khamzat would be an easier fight to prepare for. He's more of a typical style. I can bring a couple of Dagestanis and Chechens who wrestle pretty similar to Khamzat. It's not as weird as Dricus is. It would be harder to prepare for Dricus, but if he wins, he might be the bigger name. Ahead of the UFC 319 headliner, Michael Bisping offered the champion some advice on how he should approach a fight with Chimaev during the UFC Fight Night Abu Dhabi post-fight show on ESPN. Chimaev is going to get you down. Look at what he did to Whittaker. Look at what he did to Usman. Usman, with that fight, you might go, oh yeah, Usman's had his best days behind him. Then look what he did to Joaquin Buckley. He still got it. That's how good Khamzat Chimaev is at wrestling. So if you try and just do everything you can to avoid him and get away and run, you're just running away the entire time. He's going to get you. Nah, screw that. Meet him head on. Fight him at his own game. Although there's been no word yet on what's next for RDR, he made it clear during an interview with Inside Fighting that he has no plans to fight Paulo Costa, despite the former contender's callouts. It would lead to a nice press conference and a nice build-up, but I don't give a what he says. Call me every day of the week, I don't mind. Maybe one day, but at the moment, I don't think he's at my level. Following his big win over Robert Whittaker, it'll be interesting to see who de Ridder fights next. Arman Tsarukyan training in Ilia Topuria's hometown. Arman Tsarukyan posted a picture today of him training in Alicante, Spain, which is where Ilia Topuria was training before. Arman posted the picture with following caption, calling out Ilia Topuria by saying, "Still training, and the duck is still ducking." Would you be interested in seeing these two fight? Or would you be interested in seeing Arman versus Justin Gaethje for the #1 contender spot? Michael Bisping and Paul Felder didn't shy away from criticizing Topuria for saying that he would vacate the title before fighting Arman Tsarukyan. During the latest episode of the Believe You Me podcast, the two weighed in.
Come on, man. We're getting a little carried away, and we've talked about this before, where these guys in this generation of fighters, when they get to this top position now, are so willing to jump around weight classes and try to deny fighting guys. It's like, that's not how it works, man. If the guy's #1 and the UFC says this is the guy, you're the champ, you're holding that belt, that's who you fight. I mean, it's just,
I agree.
If you're the best and he's not on your level and all this kind of stuff, then prove it.
But why is he saying that? I think he's just saying it to get under his skin. But do you think he actually, I mean, he said he would. And we got to hold him to his word.
Update on Jon Jones' trial. Shortly after Jon Jones vacated a heavyweight title, news emerged indicating that Jones had been accused of leaving the scene of an accident in February. In addition to the misdemeanor charge he's facing for leaving the scene of an accident, Jones is also facing a second misdemeanor for what MMA fighting lists as, quote, use of telephone to terrify, intimidate, threaten, harass, annoy, or offend. According to the outlet, Jones has a bench trial, meaning a trial where a judge has final say, as opposed to a jury trial set for August 14th. He then has a second bench trial set for September 2nd that includes both the misdemeanor for leaving the scene of the accident and the misdemeanor for the alleged phone call. As Jones's attorney indicated, he's already filed a motion to dismiss the second case, given that Jones is already facing a charge for leaving the scene of an accident. However, so far, the judge has not ruled on the motion. Dana White forced to cancel UFC fight due to injury. Next month, Song Kenan was supposed to fight Kiefer Crosby at UFC Shanghai, but he's now out due to an injury. According to sources, Song Kenan pulled out of the fight due to an injury in his right eye, which he had to have surgery for. In the video, Kenan is preparing to go into surgery, and in the end, shows him being stretched off the operation table with a patch covering up his eye. As of now, there's no more details on what exactly happened to his eye, but as of now, he will not be fighting on August 23rd in Shanghai. Jared Cannonier not happy with Michael Page fight at UFC 319. Heading into Michael Venom Page's fight with Shara Bullet back in February, the expectation was that MVP's trip up to middleweight was a one-time affair. However, since then, he's been booked to fight Jared Cannonier on the upcoming UFC 319 card. During a recent appearance on Submission Radio, Cannonier explained that he's not really sure why the UFC booked the fight. The issue is that I have with the fight is that he's not really a middleweight. I'm focused on getting back to the title. I understand it's a big fight, it's on a big card, so there is some weight there. It's business as usual. It's all about the next fight, to be honest. It's not that. He may be unranked, but I don't know. I can't really make any reasoning behind the matchmaking. It's still an exciting fight. I've watched MVP for a long time. He's a world-renowned fighter, and we all know who he is. We all love to watch him fight, so it's still a big fight, and with any fight, a dominant finish will get me back on track of where I want to go. After snapping a 2-fight skid by finishing Gregory Rodriguez back in February, Cannonier finds himself heading into this upcoming UFC 319 fight with MVP ranked number 8 on the UFC's website, just behind Robert Whittaker and just ahead of Roman Dolidze. Dricus du Plessis praises Ilia Topuria and Tom Aspinall. Ahead of his upcoming fight with Khamzat, Dricus du Plessis has nothing but good things to say about fellow champions Ilia Topuria and Tom Aspinall. During an interview with Betway South Africa, the middleweight champion went so far as to predict that Topuria will one day land himself in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him. I think, we made our debuts on the same fight card. He was literally in my changing room. We were on the same trajectory, winning our titles 1 month apart. So I'm super happy for him. I think he's one of those special characters who's going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt. Unbeaten. He's the first unbeaten guy to have 2 titles. So I'm super happy for him, and I rate him very highly. And as an all-around fighter, and obviously striking power, knocking out 3 legends. I think he's incredible, and in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, in the UFC right now.
DDP also had nothing but good things to say about Tom Aspinall during the interview.
Yeah, I think he's incredible. It's pretty easy to, the first time you saw, I think he also made his debut on my debut card. The first time you saw Tom Aspinall fight, you knew there was something special. He's almost the next generation of heavyweights, in my opinion, where he moves like a middleweight. He's light on his feet, he can grapple, he can strike, he can wrestle. So, I'm really happy for him. I think he's going to be a great champion, and I think he's going to be a champion for a long time. I don't think there's a lot of heavyweights, if any, on his level right now. I think he's a great guy. I've spoken to him quite a few times. He's a great guy, and I think he's going to be a great champion.
While fight fans are excited for Aspinall's first title defense against Ciryl Gane, Jailton Almeida is expecting the bout to be pretty lopsided. While speaking through a translator during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show this week, he explained, "I'm pretty sure that Aspinall beats Gane. It seems like Gane has other priorities in his life right now, and once you're fighting at this level, there can't be no other priority. If you're fighting at this level, if you're fighting for the heavyweight crown of the UFC, you have to be all in." And it doesn't seem like that's the case for Gane right now. I get it that he's taking it because who's not going to take another title fight for the heavyweight belt? But I think his priorities are in a different place now. If both DDP and Aspinall defend their respective titles in their upcoming fights, perhaps we can see them defend their titles on the same card in the future. Mike Perry shuts down Conor McGregor fight and says Conor's owned by the UFC. Although Conor McGregor still has 2 fights left on his UFC contract, the former champ has remained adamant that he wants to fight out his contract and compete under the BKFC banner someday. According to Mike Perry, however, there was no reason for McGregor to tease a potential fight between the two while announcing Perry's next fight at the recent BKFC press conference. He did a little bit kind of steal the spark of that announcement because I called him out for a fight and he had to protect himself. "You'll dance for me October 11th. And I'm just like, alright. He's announcing my date. Yeah, I'm gonna fight, and we know I'm not fighting you. You're still owned by the UFC. You can't get out. They're holding on tight to you. You're promoting for us." In the meantime, McGregor is apparently back in the UFC's testing pool. This week, he shared photos of a testing agent on his yacht, and then followed it up with a video where he debuted a new mohawk, captioned, "I gave my first blood test. That's what the plaster is on my shoulder. I'm ecstatic. I am in shape." He then added, "Return of the Mac," in a separate post. In addition, the former champ also took aim at Ilia Topuria, who fans say copied McGregor's tattoos in a follow-up post. From the sounds of things, we may actually be getting the McGregor-Chandler fight. UFC updates. Although Fight Week is already underway for the UFC Vegas 108 card, Austin Bashi was able to find a short-notice opponent for Saturday. According to reports, he'll now collide with 9-3 pro John Yanis, who is riding a 3-fight win streak in Fury FC. Next weekend on the UFC Vegas 109 card, Uros Medic will reportedly collide with Gilbert Urbina in a welterweight bout, as Medic looks to bounce back from a 30-second loss to Punahele Santos, and Urbina looks to bounce back from a first-round loss of his own to Charles Radke back in February of 2024. We also have a change to the UFC 319 card, with Karine Silva set to fight Deonna Barboza following the withdrawal of JJ Aldrich. Silva heads into this fight after a loss to Viviane Araújo last November, while on the flip side, Barboza looks to build momentum on a first-round victory over Diana Belbita in April. Next up, we have 2 updates on the Noche UFC card, with Edgar Chairez out of his fight with Alessandro Costa due to a leg injury, and David Martinez and Carlos Vera set to throw down at 135. Vera enters the fight following a win over Josias Musasa, while on the flip side, Martinez is coming off a first-round win in his UFC debut. Additionally, following a big win over Gilbert Burns back in May, Michael Morales has called out Leon Edwards via Instagram, writing, "What are you waiting for to sign, Rocky?" In other news, Bruce Buffer confirmed during an appearance on Clocked and Loaded that he plans to stick around for another 8 years, which would include the historic UFC 400 card. As he explained, "I plan to be at UFC 400, that's a goal. I figure I got another 8 years or so, that's my plan." And last but not least, the UFC has announced what's been described as a strategic partnership with Bakai Bank, one of the biggest banks in Central Asia. According to a press release from UFC.com, as an official partner of UFC, Bakai Bank will have a presence at UFC live events, run joint marketing and promotional campaigns alongside UFC, and be integrated across UFC's Eurasia digital platforms, including serving as the presenting partner of an upcoming episode of UFC Eurasia's YouTube series, Homeland of Champions. Lerone Murphy explains accepting short notice fight for UFC 319. Not many top 10 ranked fighters would be willing to step in on short notice to fight an unranked contender making their UFC debut. Lerone Murphy, however, is the exception. Following the withdrawal of Movsar Evloev from his scheduled fight with Aaron Pico, Murphy agreed to fight Pico on short notice at the UFC 319 card next month. As he explained during an appearance on the Ariel Helwani show this week, he sees the fight as a big opportunity, regardless of the fact that Pico is unranked. The game's the game. From a business perspective, people would probably have said, "You shouldn't take the fight, sit out and wait for a big opportunity." But it's like, for me, I think this is a big opportunity. I just want to fight. I'm not getting no younger. I want to stay active. I want to fight. Who's to say when everybody else is going to be ready to fight? Everybody seems to get surgery and whatnot. So, do I want to sit out until December, November? No, I don't. I'm ready to go now. So whoever, whenever. If I believe I can be champion, I've got to be able to fight anybody in any given moment. And that's it for me. I know it's a tough fight. I know it's a dangerous fight. Big risk, big reward. I'm happy and I'm excited. As Michael Bisping stated following the announcement on the UFC on ABC broadcast, the chance to fight in the co-main event of a pay-per-view is nothing to scoff at, even if it's against an unranked contender. Conor McGregor loses in court again. Recently, we reported that Conor McGregor was appealing his case with Nikita Hand and that he had brought new witnesses which allegedly had seen Nikita getting hit by her boyfriend, which explained the bruising on her. But last minute, the witnesses withdrew from court, which had the judge and prosecutors looking to possibly add perjury as a charge to Conor. Well, today, Conor officially lost his appeal to Nikita when 3 senior judges at the Court of Appeal in Dublin dismissed the appeal on all grounds. Generally, in Ireland, once the appeal is denied, there's no further appeals except in rare cases when it goes to the Supreme Court. So Conor will likely remain guilty of his charges with no further ability to appeal. Nikita spoke about winning the appeal to the press outside the courtroom. Here's what she had to say.
To begin by thanking my legal team, Great Crisis Centre, the 3 judges who delivered the decision today. I'm also deeply grateful for everyone who supported me, those who believed in me and stood by my side throughout this long and painful journey. This appeal has re-traumatised me over and over again. Being forced to relive it, what happened has had a huge impact on me. To every survivor out there, I know how hard it is, but please don't be silent. You deserve to be heard. You also deserve justice. Today I can finally move on and try to heal. Thank you.
Do you have any message for Conor McGregor?
No.
Nikita, how does it feel to be comprehensively vindicated?
As of right now, Conor has not released a statement about the appeal being denied, but I'm sure we'll be hearing from him on the timeline soon. We have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day.